Welcome everyone. Instead of flirt, we will be realistic today. Unfortunately, we as the AIP, we see problems. We see this nation struggling with immigrants coming to our homeland, some to work, some to benefit. You hear stories about rape and about violence in Cologne. You hear stories about immigrants drowning, struggling to get to the promised land. This nation struggles with the economy, not having a solution to the crisis in Greece, and not knowing what to do with the upcoming competition in the global market. And what about our own country? Having to deal with the aging problem and having to deal with problems in the property market. These problems still exist because of mismanagement and non-criticism. But problems are there to be solved, and the AIP can do so. One of the most important problems in the economic sector is the value of the euro, which is linked to the situation in Greece. Greece, of course, should never have been given a seat in the EU Parliament, and this is the same for other countries as Ireland, Spain, Portugal, Hungary, Croatia, and in my opinion, Italy too. Not only would this have prevented the European economic crisis, it would also have saved us a lot of money and a lot of time which we could have used to focus on other problems in this world. We, as the AIP, would do the following to rehabilitate Greece. We would support the Greek economy by stimulating it at the hands of tourism, investments, and other ways of trade. To prevent this from happening again, more and heavier requirements have to be met in order to keep the EU stable and to keep the euro from devaluation. In the past, economic crises were eventually stopped by investment, not because of reductions. And to use an example, the Wall Street crash. This, however, does not mean that the AIP questions the usefulness of the EU. The economic, cultural, and social perks will outweigh the restrictions and the duties the EU demands. As the present flow of immigrants is a solvable problem, even the present flow of immigrants is a solvable problem, whilst the European countries do as agreed upon. With good organization of the camps and equal distribution of the immigrants to the EU nations, the problem is to be solved professionally. These immigrants should be absorbed into society, and we think it's best to do so when we put these immigrants apart from each other and among indigenous neighborhoods. Therefore, integration is more easily accomplished and ethical neighborhoods are avoided. The AIP sees these immigrants as an opportunity, a solution to other problems. We have economic problems, problems due to more elderly, and problems in the property market. Therefore, these immigrants can create a balance for the time being, so we can integrate our solution to the economic problems more slowly. The AIP wants to wants the minimal retirement age to depend on the field of work. For example, someone who works in an office can easily work till his 70th year. However, a pager's back is destroyed when he's 65. As we look at the initial goal of our retirement policy, we find the following. The AOW is a guarantee for the elderly to live their last 5 to 10 years in peace, and full of joy before death is upon them. As the medical world evolves, the average age of life is raised to 80 years, meaning elderly will now have 15 to 20 years of retirement, which we think is too much. The just retired elderly are often still capable to be contributing to society. Of course, we don't force them to work as hard as they did before their retirement. This will not only stimulate the economy and education, for we hope the elderly will work, we also bring back the original idea of the retirement policy. In addition, research has shown us that the elderly brains have more activity when they work than when they retire, and they are less likely to suffer from depressions or other psychological diseases. As this plan cannot be put into action immediately, therefore the immigrants are a good way of slowly turning over the system. We would like to thank you for your attention and wish you the best of luck.